have a good start in life.
If I'd have known them, I would have told them not to move on to that estate, not to buy any property on it, to keep well away. It's dangerous.
This isn't the England I know. This is some wild nightmare.
One young couple were to live that nightmare, enduring 15 months of mental and physical abuse from their neighbours.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to this one little bit.
Mark and Angela Sumner can take no more. After collecting the last few belongings from their home, they plan to hand the keys back to the building society.
Cheeky sods. What
Oh,
the hell
dear
have they
me.
been doing? What the hell's going on?
Mark and Angela were married in July 1996. Like many young couples, they dreamt of having a home of their own. At first sight, the Callan estate in Preston, a mix of council and private houses, seemed like the ideal place to start their new life together.
We didn't want to rent because it was a waste of money, and we thought that getting a mortgage would be, a good start. We went to the estate agent to see about getting a mortgage, and we asked about the area, and we were told that they'd never heard anything at all bad about the area. We were told that the gentleman was moving because he had some family problems, and they left it at that.
But the agent neglected to say they'd be living a stone's throw away from a notorious part of the estate.
Where the Sumners live now, if you went round the corner, 50, 100 yards round the corner, you've got graffiti all over the walls, you've got houses boarded up. If they would have seen this would have stopped them people moving onto the estate. A lot of the houses round there are just crap and shit all over the estate at the back. It's never clean. You've got burnt out dustbins, you've got overgrown gardens, you've got litter everywhere, really. You go into the centre of it, altogether it's terrible. It's really bad.
Blissfully unaware, Mark and Angela moved in, but they soon had some unexpected visitors.
The problems more or less started happening the night that we moved in. They were using our garden as a public footpath, and when they came through, they were banging on windows, knocking on doors. And that's when we realised.
The Sumners' dream home was on an estate being terrorised by gangs of youths.
We'd wake up in the morning to find eggs all over the car. Practically every night we were having stones thrown. People running through the garden, banging on the window, banging on the letterbox. It was almost every night. Nobody would come and visit us on the estate because the car wasn't safe, parked on the front. It's very intimidating. The amount of, the sheer amount of kids that there are that hang around in a crowd, they might only all be age 14, but if there's 10 of them, then you're going to feel intimidated.
As soon as somebody new moves onto the estate, you get a group of kids trying it on with them. See how easy they are to push. And the more they let them push, the more they'll do. But as soon as you ring the police, that's it. Your house goes. Everything goes.
One night I went out on the front for a cigarette, and this lad turned around and said, "If you don't get back into the house, I'm going to stab you." I couldn't shower at night because every time a light got turned on, it felt like there was going to be a brick thrown through a window. So we just couldn't switch any lights on whatsoever. All we had on is the TV, that's it.
We were definitely prisoners in our own house. I was going to the window and seeing who was on the front, checking the car was safe. So it got to the point where I'd finish work at dinner time, go to my mum's until sometimes as late as 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, because I didn't want to go home and face a situation that was always there waiting for us. There was always gangs hanging around, whether it was lads or girls, it didn't matter. They were all, in one way or another, doing something to make us feel unsafe, uncomfortable, harassed.
With a strong police presence on the Callan estate and community liaison officers pounding the beat, Lancashire Constabulary knows that all is not well.
I wouldn't say it's any worse than any other estate in Preston. Obviously, we recognise as a police force that we have got problems. It's not an easy place to live, but we are trying hard to address the problems and to work with the people on the estate to make it a better place to live.
Despite enduring 10 months of victimisation, a happy event should have brightened the gloom surrounding Mark and Angela.
Michael James was born on the 16th of April. It should have been the happiest time of our lives, really. But
it should have been the happiest time of our life. And then trouble just got worse and worse then.
it was 2 o'clock on a Saturday night. I was feeding the baby, he was 2 weeks old. A large stone, about that big, came through the window while I was stood in front of it. I called the police immediately when the stone came through the window. They were sympathetic, they know what the area's like. We told them who we suspected it was because the same evening, about 4 hours earlier, we'd called them out because we saw him throwing stones at our windows. But because he hadn't damaged one, the police said, well, if we go around and see him, it'll make the situation worse. Because that's the way they are.
We rely on people to report things to us, and unless we have evidence that we can arrest people for, it's very, very difficult to sort of make people give statements and make people speak to us when there is a fear factor.
Fortunately, both mother and baby escaped injury. But in their anxiety, the Sumners committed the estate's cardinal sin. They involved the police.
It's a crime. Don't inform on anybody. Especially on that estate. You don't inform on nobody at all. Inform on anybody and you're outcast straight away. You're a squealer. You're a grass and they come round. Do you in.
A couple of nights after that, I was in the house on my own with the baby and a brick was put through the car windscreen. Days after that, I was walking to the car with the baby in his car seat. I placed him on the ground, unlocked the car, and there was 2 teenagers, about 17-year-olds, sat on a fence throwing stones at the car seat with the newborn baby in it.
Youth crime was plain to see, but the shadow of a more sinister influence was also present on the estate.
You've got drug dealers moving on the estate. And I'm not talking, you know, cannabis and stuff like that. I'm talking about heroin and crack. And they're ruining the kids' lives. Good kids that have been mashed up in their head.
I mean, they're like ants, really. They're like soldier ants. You've got your red ant, then you've got your soldier ants, and the ants do as they're told and swarm around the people. It's all part of one organised gang. You got 4 or 5 ringleaders, and they pull the strings. And the soldiers do as they're told.
The ringleaders demand obedience and will stop at nothing to get it.
People are whipped. I've known of people being tied to the lamppost and whipped on the green itself, just outside the shops.
There was a man, he cherished his dog. He was about 75, and somebody was burgling his house, and he knocked on his door, and actually told him to keep his dog quiet. Because he questioned it, they walked away, and he couldn't understand it. The following night, his dog, the head was on his gatepost. They took his dog's head off, killed it. That finished that man. There was a lonely old man, and he lived for his dog, and he walked off that estate. Nobody ever seen him since.
Fearful for their future, the Sumners began to keep a diary.
I wrote a letter of complaint to the Housing Association, and she said that she's aware of who the problem neighbours are. They want to get them evicted, but it's a long and difficult process. She advised me to keep a log of all the incidents, which I did. So I had meetings with her and the community police officer, and nothing at all was done.
One night, the dangers of living on the estate were driven home for Angela and Mark.
We got home to find that our living room curtains were closed and we couldn't get into the front door. The chain was on the inside. So Mark had to go around the back and climb over the fence. And our back door had been smashed in completely. And the house had been burgled.
There was forensic evidence obtained at the scenes of the burglary. We've still got that evidence. The case is still open as such, and should the person whose fingerprints were found at the scene come into trouble with the police, then will be located and dealt with.
We've been advised it was possibly children that had been sent in by the parents. Apparently that's common practice on the estate, because children under 11 can't be fingerprinted. So I doubt we'll ever know.
The problem of children terrorising estates hasn't gone unnoticed by the government.
This time last year, I told you of our plans for a crime and disorder bill. Well, that bill is now law, the Crime and Disorder Act.
The Act means the police and local authorities can target delinquent children.
Basically, we have to prove that their behaviour is causing alarm, harassment or distress, and then go before the magistrates to get one of these youth behaviour orders, which will say certain measures that they and the parents must take to rectify this behaviour. The measures can be wide-ranging, such as stipulating what times they come in at night, ensuring that they go to school, ensuring the parents make them attend school, etc.
After the burglary, Angela and Mark sought refuge with their parents. 10 days later, they returned home to another shock.
We went into the house and found that virtually everything that wasn't stolen in the first break-in had been taken. They took all were electrical things. They smashed my stereo across the floor. My wedding bouquet had been made into 2 floral rings, and they took those.
Angela and Mark had reached breaking point and decided to leave, whatever the cost.
I haven't really got any happy memories at all of living in this house. But I'm glad that we're doing this. I hate being in this house. I don't feel safe here, don't feel comfortable here.
All that Angela and Mark can do now is to start picking up the pieces of their shattered lives.
I think it's a tragedy that a young couple can't buy a house and live in it and feel safe on that estate. We in the Leicester Constabulary aim to make sure that any community feels safe, involved and reassured. And it's a tragedy that they've had to move out.
We're going to have to pay back about 7-8 grand. Because it won't go for the asking price what we bought. We're going to have to down it. We're going to have to keep on down it until somebody says, yeah, we'll have it. If that's what it takes to get off here, well, we're going to have to do it.
Well, they were only young. They didn't know what kind of estate they lived on. If they kept their mouth closed and shut, they would have had respect given to them from these people, and they would have been looked after. But then they would have to do favours for these people, so really, they did the right thing to report them, to try and stop this mess that's going on, and then to leave the estate.
In just 15 months, Mark and Angela have lost a home, fallen into debt, and seen their dreams shattered. But to escape the nightmare is still a relief. By handing their home back to the Building Society, they've fallen off the ladder. It'll be at least 6 years before they can apply for another mortgage. While home ownership is a distant dream for Angela and Mark, it seems the mobs still roam free on this estate and many others across the country. Our helpline is open till 11 o'clock tonight. For help and advice, call 0121 634 4336. For an information sheet, send a large stamped addressed envelope to Neighbours from Hell, Box 96, Birmingham B1 2JL.
Crank up the 8-track, slip back into those hot pants, because the 1970s are back. If you remember, you'll never forget. Days like these, soon on ITV.
Never get better than this!
I've watched Blind Date for many years. I've shared the joys, I've shed some tears.
Find out if this poet chooses 1, 2 or 3. Saturday 7:10 on ITV.
You've done that. You've earned money back. So what do you do now? The new blue card from American Express. It pays you to do more.
I declare war on damaged hair and split ends.
L'Oreal has created Elvive Nutriceramide shampoo. It helps fix the areas where the hair is damaged and helps to prevent split ends. The proof? A third less breakage from brushing.
It's strong, it's soft, and it's shiny. Help prevent split ends. Victory.
New L'Oreal Elvive Nutriceramide shampoo.
L'Oreal, because I'm worth it.
She can't resist the whole chicken breast and a KFC fillet burger.
Don't bother trying to find her. She's not there.
The problem Elvis had with Gracelands? Too many sequins, not enough distressed pine.
Save up to 25% on made-to-order furniture and up to 50% on showroom clearance items. The Barker & Stonehouse winter sale is now on. Is your house a Barker & Stonehouse?
What is it about us that come the weekend, we just can't seem to resist the urge to spend a few hours bodging the house up?
Drill went through that cable there.
He really thinks he's got this cracked.
Threw me out of the door.
Gonna do a really good job.
And set fire to the curtains on the door.
And then he doesn't.
You blew all the fuses again?
Eh?
Everything's off.
A brand new series.
Women are always one, aren't they?
Britain's worst DIYers. Next Friday at 9 on ITV.
Well, now drama from the heart with the concluding episode.